Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Summer Cup Ultra League Edition, which is going to be available now for 1 week in Pokemon Go. So let's take a look at the rule set real quick for this meta. It's going to be only normal, fire, water, grass, electric, and also the bug type Pokemon available for this one. So 6 typings, again the same as for the Great League Edition for this cup here. We're still going to have the Great League as well for this, same duration, so most likely a lot of people are going to still stick for the Great League, which is understandable. I'm going to take a look most likely for 2 or 3 videos for this cup, but otherwise let's still take a look at the meta for this cup here right now. We're going to see here, for the top meta, it's going to be a pretty small meta based around Pidgeot. Pidgeot is clearly the best Pokemon for this meta by far. Is this Pokemon going to be, a strong Pokemon against nearly everything, thanks to the debuffing move Feather Dance, the very decent bulk. Brave Bird is a nuke move. This Pokemon basically has anything that you really need for this one. And they're not the best amount of answers for this one here right now, but still, there are going to be a lot of good pairings, but also still there are going to be a lot of decent electric type Pokemon. For example, on this page here already you're going to see the Zapdos, the Galvantula, but also the Zekrom at rank 8, which is a really decent Pokemon to take a look at this one as well. But let's take a look real quick at the buffed Pokemon for this meta. You're going to see here already the buffed Mud Bomb on the normal Stunfisk. It really helps this Pokemon out here. Credilli with the Rock Slide is buffed. The Traveler of course are debuffed there or nerfed with the Seed Bomb, but still very decent. Golem doesn't really use the move Rollout sadly. Warrain, very decent in this meta. Samurott doesn't really use the new move Liquidation here either. Not really the best move on it. But we still have Salazzle pretty high up there, if you have an XL variant. I don't. Golisopod is still going to be pretty high up there as well, which is going to be nice to see. And otherwise we see Quagsire if you have an XL variant, but I think a lot of people don't really have that. Wishcast, same goes for that Pokemon here. But yeah, honestly, the meta are going to be pretty focused around the Pidgeot and Virizion most likely. Very decent Pokemon already in the normal Ultra League. Now a lot of answers are gone. For example, Registeel, generally you don't really see any steel types here either. So there's going to be not really the best answer for Pidgeot. So we're going to take advantage of this fact here for the first team. This is most likely the best team that you're going to be able to run for this meta right now. In my opinion, Pidgeot plus the Double plus the Virizion would be the best one. If you don't have a Double, you can use of course the Warren as a safe swap as well. Should still work out pretty okayish. Can leave you weak though against electric type Pokemon in the lead, which can be a little bit of an issue, but otherwise it can still work out. There could be other safe swaps, for example, a Snorlax could work out pretty well as well, but otherwise it can be a little bit tricky. You can also maybe even use the Virizion itself as a safe swap, but yeah, honestly, if you have the double, this is most likely going to be the best one that you can run. Let's take a look here real quick what this is going to look like on the chart, and you're going to see already what Double, Virizion and Pidgeot looked together, and you see it basically beats anything. Everything here kinda dies to this team. There's everything nearly dies to Pidgeot alone, and the Pokemon in the back just gives it the perfect coverage here to be most likely the best team that you can run for this meta. But of course, not a lot of people have the Double, so let's take a look at some other teams as well, which don't really need this. We're going to have here the second team, Double Electric. Double Electric going to be very decent because, yes, Pidgeot going to be everywhere. As well as a Warren going to be pretty common, Charizard going to be pretty common, so electric type Pokemon going to be definitely very decent here. For example, here we're going to see already the Galvantula or also the Alolan Golem. We're going to have here first up the team with Alolan Golem and Zapdos in the back. Zapdos gives it a little bit of a better coverage against, for example, other Virizion, which is kinda nice to have as well, because Alolan Golem doesn't really work too well against that one, but Drill Peck just one-shots them. That's why I went for that one. You can use any safe swap there as well. Zekrom would be also a very decent safe swap for this team, but here, as you're going to see, it's going to be pretty decent. But again, as said before, Virizion can be a little bit of an issue. Zapdos usually wins against it here in this calculation. Virizion lands a bait and then goes for the Stone Edge, which is exactly the move set that you want to have here. Sacred Sword Stone Edge seems to be pretty decent for that one. So definitely something to look out for. This team should work out pretty well, but of course gets kind of beaten down by the team prior. But the team prior you can also kind of flip around, as you're going to see here right now. The next team here, Team 3, is the flipped OP team from before, from Team 1. We're going to have now the Swampert in the lead. You can also use Virizion, but I think Swampert just works out a little bit better than Virizion here. And as safe swaps, you have the Tentacruel, which is a very decent safe swap in this meta. Or the Charizard definitely works out both as well here, but Pidgeot in the back is kinda mandatory here. You can also use the Charizard in the back together with the Tentacruel there as a safe swap, but Pidgeot is just the better Pokemon to have. Honestly, Pidgeot is just so overpowered, and you see already, this looks like a very good team for this meta. basically anything is kind of beatable here with that one, so definitely a strong one there. Let's go ahead, go to team 4. We're going to flex on some Pokemon here today. We're going to have a team here with either, of course, Trevenant I just put in later on, but it was like based around Buzzwole. Buzzwole is pretty damn decent actually in this meta, as you're going to be able to kind of wall the Virizion. You're going to be able to destroy those, most of the electric type Pokemon actually, because they usually are like part Steel, for example, or like Rock before. So like this Pokemon going to be very nice for that. Walrein of course doesn't really want to see it, but of course our Walrein here in the lead going to be our answer for the Pidgeot, where we're going to try to bait it out with either the Say-Swap of Blaziken or the Say-Swap of Virizion. You should definitely get out the opponent's Pidgeot with that one. Of course, the Virizion has access to the move Stone Edge, which is going to be very decent for us, as well as the Blaziken just does some pretty hefty damage as well, but also would learn the move Stone Edge, so you don't really have to have the move Stone Edge here. The normal moveset of Blaziken is definitely enough for that one as well, but you kind of want to just try to set up the Buzzwole. As you're going to see on the right side, Buzzwole has a lot of decent matchups here in this current meta, and if you can set it up right, it can definitely function pretty well. Let's take a look at the team number 5 here. Zekrom in the lead here right now. Say-Swap again. Tentacruel is a very decent Say-Swap, as well as the cheap there, forgot the name just now, Dapple, and of course you're going to have a flying type now on the back here, which should also work out pretty well. The thing with the Zekrom is, there's not a lot that it really can like counter this Pokemon, which is going to allow it now to have a very decent neutral matchup against nearly everything. Even against the Virizion there, you're going to still do some decent damage. Against Buzzwole, you do decent damage. Against Zekrom, of course, it's a mirror match. Against Dapple, like there's nothing that can resist Dragon Breath in this meta, it seems like. So Zekrom seems to be one of the strongest Pokemon for this meta, which is really cool to see, to be fair. And definitely should be a Pokemon you should look out for, because it's going to be able to resist all the electric type moves from all the electric type Pokemon, as well as going to be able to resist those flying type moves, so it's rightfully at rank 8 for this meta. Next team, we're going to have Golisopod. Golisopod going to be also one of the buff Pokemon, of course, so you kind of want to try to take a look at this one as well. Ideal Say-Swap is the Zekrom here for sure. Zekrom would allow you to just have neutral matchups against anything, so this is definitely one of the best Say-Swaps in this meta. If you want to build one for the Ultra League, it's mainly for this meta alone, so Zekrom usually doesn't really have play otherwise, but here it's really decent. And in the back we have like either the XL variant of Togedemaru, but because most people don't have that and most people have a Magnezone, I went for Magnezone here, which should work out pretty well. There's just one issue here again, which would be kind of the Virizion. You're still going to be able to have a decent matchup against it, because Golisopod resists the fast move. You usually don't run Leaf Blade on this Pokemon, so they're forced to go for the Stone Edge against you, which of course is super effective, but they first have to hit this, so like it was really a bait game there. Really depends on how you play that one out, but still you use neutral damage with the fast move and also with Exit as a charge move, so still could definitely work out fine for you. Otherwise, Zekrom Say-Swap can just also have a neutral matchup against this one and should be fine. Main idea behind this team again is we're going to have a lead that's going to be able to resist fighting type moves, which is really nice for especially our Pokemon in the back there, as well as we're going to have the hardest answer for Swampert in the lead, which you can bait out for sure with the Zekrom, and then we don't have to deal with that with our Steel and Electric type Pokemon in the back, and that's basically how this team functions. 2 more teams to go to. We're going to have here right now the second to last team here with Cradily. I kind of want to build a team around Cradily as well as the Trevenant, because those Pokemon together are pretty damn nice. Cradily is your Say-Swap here for sure, because this Pokemon can bait out flying type Pokemon, especially after the lead here of the Magnezone, or of course a different electric type Pokemon there, and then you cannot try to sweep endgame with the Trevenant when you get rid of the flying type Pokemon, and that's kind of how this team can work out pretty well, and I think it's going to be also a pretty decent team to use. The reason why I have here the Galvantula instead of the Magnezone as well up there, if you're on Magnezone, you're going to be very weak against leads of Virizion, as you're going to see there as well. Virizion completely hardwalls both your Say-Swap as well as your lead. So what you kind of have to do there, like you kind of, if you go for the bug typing there, of course you're going to be able to resist both the fast and the first charge move at least. Of course Stone Edge is still going to be super effective, but you have a better play with Galvantula compared to the Magnezone. Final team for today. Of course, here, by the way, you could also use Zapdos in the lead if you're interested in that one. Definitely works out as well. But yeah, for the final team for today, we're going to have a team around Roserade, which is kind of similar setup like the one before. We're going to have here a lead of Roserade, a Say-Swap of one of the electric type Pokemon, and 2 electric type Pokemon there in general in the back again. Double electric type in the back is very just decent for like those Pokemon that are weak against flying types in the lead, because you're going to have a double coverage for that one. And Golem is very decent if you don't face an Virizion as a safe swap. Like if you for example face the first team there which has the lead of Magnus of the Pidgeot and the Virizion in the back, it's going to be a tough time for this team here, but otherwise you're going to be pretty fine here. Again, Galvantula might give you the edge for something like a Virizion safe swap there against you. But honestly, this team looks pretty decent, and this is going to be also it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.